So I finished a workout this morning, and just been thinking about something. Really another just an honest conversation. The text says, "Shall we sin that grace may abound?" And it talks about saying, "God forbid." And I've just been thinking about what this means. Y'all know me, man. I'm always thinking about the brotherhood, man. I'm always thinking about us fellas. Is that sometimes we have the tendency to just, I've said this before, we'll beat ourselves up, we'll go so hard, go in so hard on ourselves over our past sins, and that, sometimes it's really hard for us to move on. And so we'll think about the sins that we could have committed. And then here's the kicker, here's the catch to all of this too, that even there have been past sins that we've done, but there's some things that we could do like now, even presently, after we're trying to get over what we've done, because it's a battle, it's a struggle, it's a fight sometimes that we can have. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for anything, so please do not read me wrong when I say that. What I am saying is this: the text says, "Shall we sin that grace may abound?" No, we should not sin so that grace can abound. But isn't it good to know that God's grace covers us? And so, fellas, man, when we find ourselves in that space and in that place where it seems like we're just in a battle, in a fight over a certain sin, or a certain stronghold, over something that can just have us like just tied down, man, just know that God's grace is sufficient. And sometimes in knowing how sufficient God's grace is, that's just what we need to come out of what we're in. Now, I'm always referencing things to sports and working out and all that kind of stuff, and I don't know if I've ever shared it this way before, but I can remember I used to lift weights a lot and stuff, right? So, and I remember doing the bench press. And of course, everybody wanted to know, what's your max on the bench? Fellas, y'all know what I'm talking about. Everybody wants to know, well, how much can you max? How much can you max? And as soon as you didn't even have to say what type of lift, you could just say, what's your max? And people kind of automatically knew, the brothers kind of automatically knew you're talking about bench press. And I remember doing the bench press where I would like try to max. And of course, what would happen if I'm by myself and I try to do it, most of the time I couldn't get as much as I could if I had somebody there. And of course that's twofold. But the big thing with that is I can remember having a spotter there. And if I had somebody who was there so I could lift some heavy weight, but if I just had somebody standing there, I could lift a little bit more for different reasons. Of course, somebody could be watching or whatever, and I know somebody's there to help me out. But if I had a spotter, and the spotter took his hands and put his hands underneath the bar, that when I was lifting a weight, and I remember one time lifting, a nice amount, and after I lifted it and set it back, the guy who was spotting me says, "Man, all I was doing was I just had my hands on the bar. I wasn't even helping you." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I wasn't doing anything. That was all you." Y'all heard that phrase. It was all you who was doing that. That is so cool to know that I'm really that strong, and I could be that strong, but it's so cool and it's nice to know to have that spotter to help us. Well, that's kind of how I view this. The grace of God is almost like, and I say it this way, it's like a spotter. That sometimes the grace of God is just what we need to help us overcome something that can be weighing us down. The grace of God could be like a spotter, that if there's an addiction that we can have, knowing that we have the grace of God is just enough to get us over the hump. So anyway, man, just know, shall we sin that grace may abound? No, but it's so cool to know that God's grace does abound. Love you guys so much, man. Peace.